This episode of eHealth Radio is brought to you by UNatural, empowering your health. No matter the season or reason, Breathe by UNatural makes it easier to do just that. Our super simple, no-nonsense formula helps improve the function and health of your lungs naturally. A time-tested supplement formulated specifically for sinus, nasal, and lung support. Breathe in. Enter eHealth 15 at checkout for 15% off at unatural.com. Again, that's eHealth 15 for 15% off at eunatural.com.
This is the eHealth Radio Network, your source for health advice on demand. And now your host, Eric Michaels.
Thanks for joining us once again here on the eHealth Radio Network. This is your host, Eric Michaels. eHealth Radio gives you the most current health information, news, and advice featuring some of the leading innovators in healthcare and wellness who are changing healthcare as we know it. For more eHealth Radio reports, we invite you to visit our main radio channel site at eHealthRadioNetwork.com. Today we're speaking with Katie Lain, Director of Community Engagement at Ria Health, and at-home evidence-based alcohol treatment through Telemedicine. Ria's science-backed platform is for anybody who wants to drink less alcohol and live a better life. And Katie, thanks so much for joining us here today on eHealth Radio.
I'm so glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
And you're more than welcome, and thanks for taking a moment to be with us here today. So tell us more about Ria Health and how it helps people who want to drink less alcohol or even stop for good.
Absolutely. So Ria Health is quite unique, I would say, in the way that it provides alcohol treatment, especially as we think about, historical, traditional ways of treating alcoholism. And I would say that there are three ways primarily that Ria is set apart from traditional treatment programs. The first, as you mentioned, it's telemedicine based, and we've been treating people since 2016 through telemedicine, meaning, care can be delivered to someone from the comfort of their home, and it doesn't have to interrupt their schedule or their life. They don't have to go away to rehab or go to meetings every day. Really, the care is brought to them and on their schedule from the comfort of home or anywhere. And so that's the first thing. The second, I would say, is that we're an evidence-based program, meaning all of the tools and protocols that our physicians use to treat people with are backed by science and evidence proving that they work. And just to give you an idea of this, in our program, what we've seen as far as the success rate is most of our members, when we did an analysis, most of our members saw a 75% reduction in their blood alcohol concentration levels after 12 months in our program. And that's compared to AA, which has been an estimated success rate of 5 to 10%. And not to say AA is bad, we are so glad it exists, and we think the more options, the better. But just the science-backed, evidence-based methods that are proven to work can, really set someone up for success when they choose a treatment option to go to. And the third thing I would say is moderation for drinking is an option. And so they don't have to go cold turkey or abstinent to, want to improve their relationship to alcohol. And I would say most people who join Ria's program, they have a desire to drink in moderation or drink less or save it for special occasions. And so through evidence-based methods, people are able to reduce their drinking if they want, and they don't have to give it up cold turkey and for good and commit to sobriety for the rest of their life.
Certainly some fantastic information right there to kick things off here today, and really appreciate what you're doing in those regards. Now, tell us, if a person is finding it hard to control how much they drink, but they also don't want to go 100% abstinent, what other options do they actually have?
Yeah, so I think for someone to realize that, alcohol use disorder should really be treated like a chronic illness as opposed to kind of how we viewed it for so long, and that is that it's a moral failing. There's something wrong with you. You need to go to talk therapy and figure out why you're a bad person who's drinking too much. And unfortunately, that's the way that I think, for a long time our alcohol treatment has been viewed and provided to people. But if we can shift our perspective and view it as a chronic illness, like someone might get care for diabetes. If they've got diabetes, they're not going to tell them, never eat sugar again and go get therapy because, you've failed. But more so, if someone can understand, okay, this is a chronic illness, it's not me being a bad person, and know that there are evidence-based treatments like medication therapy, which is a component of Ria's program, And when it's combined with some behavioral change therapy as well, the success rate is just phenomenal on that, because there are several medications that are being tested and proven and shown effective for alcohol use disorder, whether it's, dealing with the cravings or dealing with binge drinking, or other things that are often associated with problematic drinking. Medications combined with therapy and tools, and really a program ideally that can kind of help you through this process and make these behavior changes, just to know that those exist, and there's not just a one-size-fits-all, you've got to go to AA or you've got to go to rehab.
Katie, what if someone wants to go abstinent 100%? These methods can help them as well with that, right?
Yeah, they can. So, abstinence is a totally reasonable goal. And if someone is just, fed up and they do want to quit, but they're having a hard time because, often when someone quits cold turkey, there's a problem with alcohol cravings, and the cravings can become so intense that it causes somebody to relapse. And there are medications that exist that can help curb the cravings and help someone to overcome that part of it. And again, especially when combined with some sort of behavioral change therapy, it's totally possible as well. So if you're someone that wants to, just quit for good, just know that there are evidence-based, proven effective medications and options that are alternative to just the traditional AA or 12-step.
And from all the information that you have shared so far, Ria Health is certainly helping in a big way in these regards. The name that says it all, Breathe UNatural's potent lung support supplement made by medical and herbal professionals make it easier to do just that. Formulated for sinus, nasal, and immune health. Save 15% with eHealth 15 at unatural.com. Try it risk-free for 90 days. Again, with code eHealth 15 at eunatural.com. Today we're speaking with Katie Lain, Director of Community Engagement at Ria Health and at-home evidence-based alcohol treatment through telemedicine. She's joined us here today on eHealth Radio's Addiction Prevention and Health News channels, a part of the eHealth Radio Network. Now, Katie, I'd be curious, how did you actually get involved with Ria?
Yeah, long story short, I am the success story of medication therapy for my own alcohol use disorder. I battled with alcohol and problem drinking for 10 years and tried so many things to quit and try to drink less and try to control my alcohol, and nothing stuck, nothing worked long term. It was just getting worse and worse progressively over time, and I happened to find this by accident, really, and it just totally transformed my life, where once I got started on the therapy, I just saw myself go from a daily heavy drinker to someone who was drinking a few times a week to once a week to once a month to ultimately, after a year on the medication therapy, I quit drinking because truth be told, I just lost all interest in alcohol and didn't have any desire to drink anymore at all. And so I'm living proof and really have become an advocate personally and professionally because I've just seen this work in my own life. And now, the more than 1,000 people Ria has treated, and just the people I encounter personally every day who are having success with this method after trying so many different ways to reduce or cut back and relapsing and again and again and again. I'm here to kind of prove that there's a new way, and I'm really passionate about raising awareness about this, because while there's science and evidence out there and there are physicians becoming more aware of it, it's still relatively unknown. And I swear whenever I encounter someone who learns about it for the first time, the first question is, why didn't I already know about this? Why don't more people know this exists? And so that's kind of my passion and purpose behind it.
And that certainly says a whole lot, as you are the Director of Community Engagement there at Ria Health and have gone through this evidence-based alcohol treatment there at Ria Health. Awesome stuff. Now, in your experience, how would someone know if they are drinking too much or need to seek support to cut back or to stop?
Yeah, this is a question I see a lot too with people where they're like, well, is my drinking really bad enough to get treatment? Because I think, again, our view as a society of problematic drinking is it's very black and white. You're either an alcoholic or you're not. You either need to go to treatment or you don't. And so what's great about this method is that it can really intervene and help someone seek support and make changes in their relationship to alcohol without having to hit the, quote unquote, rock bottom and really destroy their life until, they really know it's a problem. I've seen women who they just drink, a few glasses of wine every single night, but they're starting to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm not paying attention to my kids, or I'm less sharp at work. Like, they just notice it's starting to impact their life. However, the thought of just abstinence forever is really daunting because they love, going out wine tasting with friends or having alcohol in their life in some way. So this really provides an option for those people. And I think, ultimately, to go back to your question about how does someone know, in my personal opinion and experience, it's really a personal choice. Like the woman who's drinking a few glasses of wine every night, it might start to feel problematic for her, but there might be someone else who doesn't see a problem with it at all. So for me, it's really a personal choice. If you can ask yourself honestly and say, is alcohol negatively impacting my life in any way? And if you can answer that honestly, and yes, it is, then it might be time to start exploring ways to improve your relationship to alcohol. And again, that's why the medication therapy can be so helpful and effective, because it gives you that option to keep alcohol in your life without having to, go totally abstinent. So yeah.
Katie, not only has it been inspiring, but it certainly has been informative as well. Really appreciate your joining us here today on behalf of Ria Health. In conclusion, any closing thoughts, a takeaway, a tip, or one last final word that you'd like to share with the audience as we conclude today?
Yeah, I would just say, if you're someone who is experiencing, regular hangovers, or, you feel like you have a need for alcohol to unwind after a stressful day, or to cope with your kids, or whatever way you might be leaning on alcohol, just consider looking into evidence-based treatments and realize that abstinence is not your only option. These treatments, I've seen them work for hundreds and hundreds of people over my few years of serving as an advocate in this realm, and just realize that you're not alone. A lot of people are struggling with it, and if it's impacting your life in any negative way, there are other options for you. So, just do your research and look into it for sure.
Certainly some great advice coming from you. And if listeners wanted to be in touch or to get more information on Ria Health online, where's the best place to do so?
Yeah, absolutely. They can visit the website, riahealth.com, and it's RIA, which stands for Reduction in Alcohol. And, actually, we also have a YouTube channel and an Instagram and Facebook, so we're on social as well, which you can link to all of those from the website.
Awesome stuff, and it all happens at riahealth.com. Katie, all the best, and thanks so much for what you do and for joining us here today on eHealth Radio. Certainly was our pleasure.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you.
We have been visiting with Katie Lain, Director of Community Engagement at Ria Health, and at-home evidence-based alcohol treatment through telemedicine. And for further details, simply visit riahealth.com. And again, this has been your host, Eric Michaels, and we do thank you for your continued support of the eHealth Radio Network. Join us again soon for another episode that will help further expand your knowledge on those things that are important to your health and wellness. For more eHealth Radio reports, we invite you to visit our main radio channel site at eHealthRadioNetwork.com. And as always, we do thank you for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in to the eHealth Radio Network. For more information or to subscribe to this podcast, visit eHealthRadioNetwork.com.
This episode of eHealth Radio was brought to you by UNatural, empowering your health. The name says it all. Breathe. UNatural's potent lung support supplement made by medical and herbal professionals makes it easier to do just that. Formulated for sinus, nasal, and immune health. Save 15% off with eHealth 15 at unatural.com. Try it risk-free for 90 days with code eHealth 15 at eunatural.com.